All right, we should be live. Good morning, guys. Give me just 1 minute. All right, let's take a look at what's going on here. So pre-market looks fairly trendy. Or the profile looks trendy. The price definitely is not. We have a multi-node structure. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'd say probably 4. 4 nodes here, so definitely looks like a trendy profile. Kind of like a double distribution, but the double distributions have 2 nodes each. So this would be leaning bearish, obviously, if it holds below this kind of POC towards the secondary node. So probably around 39.33 to 39.30-ish. So kind of where it is now. If it doesn't open up and show some strength above POC, I probably would be leaning bearish with this trend here. So you definitely would want to see probably some bearish pressure, bearish delta below 39.25. That would lead us down into the value retrace of yesterday, which would be that 3882 level. We're kind of already hitting the POC, so you can see how we're hovering around yesterday's POC. If we do lose that level, we should continue this downtrend towards that value area low. But if we do start to reclaim the primary or the first node, which would be around 39.45-ish to 39.55, then we could lean bullish into these levels that we talked about yesterday in Discord, which is that LVN zone and that POC around 4,020. Let's go ahead and make our trade plan for today. It would be a B shape again. You would be, honestly, this one's hard to say, but I would say, we're going to say the secondary node is bearish. So today you want to be leaning bearish. Careful buying the lows. Let's see where our levels are here. So initial balance below, let's say, probably around 39.20. You'd want to be bearish into 3882 would be the final target. We could probably find a target in between that. So let's see where that node is. 3907. And then bullishly, if we can start to hold above this POC here, so probably around 3950, we would be bullish into the high, which is 3964. And then finally that LVN zone, which starts at 3990. So we'll put 3990 into 4010. Alrighty, there's the trade plan for today. Very short and sweet. We do have a bearish downtrend here. Do have a little bit of buy pressure coming in at the open, but the overall trend is definitely bearish. You can see VWAP is right around 39.41. So we do have a buy signal going into VWAP, but we do want to see how price kind of reacts to VWAP here. Let's take a look at the momentum really quick. So 5-minute is green, 15 is turning green, 30-minute is showing a very small bull div. 1 hour hasn't really determined the trend direction just yet, but the short-term momentum is very bearish. You are holding on to that 1 hour pivot. So a little bit of support. So overall, it looks like all 4 timeframes are finding a little bit of support, but they are still leaning bearish. So definitely want to follow kind of that momentum today. Let's take a look at our liquidity levels. So first off, let's fix our VWAPs. Let's grab the VWAP here, move it on to today. We're going to grab this one here, move it on to the current candle. We did sweep these highs, so these highs have been grabbed, so the liquidity has been taken. We also had this previous high right here, which got taken as well, but we're going to leave this one marked out because we're kind of sweeping that level. So you can see how we're sweeping the highs from way back on, what is that, July 27th and July 28th. So causing a little bit of sweep there. Now, if we zoom out even farther, we can go back to these previous levels way back here. I believe this one has been swept, so we're going to grab these levels back here. So we have that level right there. And then if we want to, we can grab the range low as well. So kind of around there. And that is really it. There's not much value resistance in this area right here because that was the week that we were just selling off. We weren't really seeing any support, no buy pressure, just kind of rapidly sold off. So you didn't really find value in that week there. So very hard to find where the value resistance is. Okay, so let's move forward here. Let's see. Do we have any major zones right here? We could grab this zone right here. So anywhere from this high to kind of this low could be a little bit of buyer absorption. This one, we do not really have any major levels down here. So that's really the only major absorption level we want to watch today. And then we want to watch the high around 39.50. But all right, that is the trade plan. Let's see who's in here this morning. What's going on? Steven, Miko, Juan, Cito, Divacar, Fortunate, Shiny, Sean, David, another David, 60, Cafe, 70s Rock, and Fortunate again. Good morning, guys. Yeah, the newer edition is very well made, Fortunate for sure. The teaching style in the newer one is just much better. It's a lot easier to understand. Hey, Yasin, Vic, good morning, guys. AB, you said, for the Apex Combine, if my profit goal is 3,000, do I need to do it by the 10th trading session, or can I take longer? You can take as long as you would like. You can take as long as you would like. If you want to take 2 months to get to your profit target, you can. There's no rush. The 10-day goal... Sorry, it's not a goal. It's a 10-day minimum. So they want you to trade at least 10 days to get funded. So like if you just hit a wild trade on your first day and you hit your profit target on your first day, they want to see you trade for at least 10 days before they'll fund you. Now, I'm pretty sure they don't have anything in place to stop you from just like entering a trade and exiting it right away. But as long as you're trading for 10 days, I think you're doing fine. The name of the book is Mind Over Markets by Dalton, the second edition, the newer edition. The newer edition just has a much better teaching style, has a better flow. We did get a trade yesterday on our Apex account. Where was it? I think it was right around here. It was around that breakout around lunchtime. We took a bot. There was a bot signal around there, and we went ahead and took that. We were trailing the target out. We were looking for about, I think, 10 to 11 points. It hit our target, but we trailed out at 8 points. So we got out at 8. Sadly, if we would have held on to it, we would have made probably about 20, 25 points, but we got trailed out. So we were trailing with a pretty tight stop loss because there was a bunch of bear divs coming in on Delta and whatnot. So we got out for a little gain there. Let's see if we can find some trades this morning. Let me pull up the Delta chart for you guys. At the end, they refer you to another book. What's the book they refer you to? I'm not sure if he has a book after that. I thought that was his newest. Good morning, Christopher. Good morning, Moto. Hey, Bloodling, what's going on? But yeah, guys, with the Apex, take your time, man. Take your time. Don't try to force it. You have to understand that yes, they're going to charge you a monthly fee. So like you don't want to take forever. They're just going to keep charging you monthly fees, right? But you have to understand that the reset fee is almost about the same as the monthly fee. So if you blow your account and you have to reset, you are almost better off just taking your time and having to pay for a new month. You know what I mean? So take your time. Don't force it, because you have to understand that you can't just trade super aggressively and then get funded and think it's going to work out when you're funded. Because as soon as you get funded, if you start losing trades, they're gonna take away your account, right? So it's not like when you get funded, you just get to keep that account forever. So you have to build a system that works, that you know you can be consistent with. Consistency is the number one thing you're aiming for. Don't just be trading super aggressively to get that funded account. You have to be consistent. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, here is the information. We are talking about the Apex funding program. They have a simulator account that you pay a monthly fee to basically try out your trading, see if you're good enough to be funded. And then if you pass their rules, they will give you a funded account. You trade with real money and you can make real money. We have a 50% off discount code. You can see in the link that I just posted if you guys would like to check it out. I think if you guys are learning futures or you want to try to trade futures, it is definitely a very good place to start. Because if you want to start trading futures, you can play around with like $1,000 account, but you're not going to make a ton of money. And it's going to be very hard to trade. You're going to be basically trading one contract. The bare minimum that I would trade a futures account with, even like a small account, quote unquote small account, would be 5 to 10,000, maybe 15,000 really, to get that decent risk to reward on your capital. So if you do the Apex program, I recommend doing the 50K funded account and trading anywhere from 2 to 4 micro contracts. Do not trade the ES contracts. You will blow your account out very quickly. So try to trade the micros and take your time, like I said. And if you guys sign up, just remember to send me an email and I'll get you guys access to the indicators, and the indicators will help you get funded. But all right, let's see what's going on here. So we are respecting VWAP. We're putting in a higher low above VWAP. We'd like to see that. We're coming into some resistance here. This is yesterday's value area high. If we can break through this, we have today's value area high around 46. Yeah, you could hit that goal in 30 days for sure. If you're being consistent, you could definitely hit that goal in 30 days. I think I've had mine for like a week, and I've only taken I've taken 4 trades. The first 2 got messed up because we messed up our Ninja Trader settings, and then the second 2 are winners. So we're slowly getting there. I need to trade more actively on it though. It's a lot harder when you have multiple accounts. For someone like me, I'm just kind of doing it just to test it out because I already have an account, right? I have my live account. So I'm mainly focused on my live account. But for people like you guys who you don't really have that live account that you're trading with, it's a lot easier for you to just focus on that Apex account and just kind of trade every single day on that account. You've been doing it for 6 days. You've had 2 trades so far. Yeah, it's hard to find that rhythm, right? Like you want to take enough trades to pass the simulation account within a reasonable amount of time, but you don't want to be forcing trades. You know what I mean? So you got to find that rhythm. Good morning, Arthur. Oh, they recommend markets in profile. Yeah, so that's his first major release, I believe. That's the one that I used to recommend. Now I recommend the Mind Over Markets newer edition because I've skimmed through it and I've read the new one, and the new one is just much easier to understand. I think if you guys already have a very good understanding of volume profile, then you should start with markets in profile. But if you're someone that's like starting fresh, Mind Over Markets is a lot easier. 3 minute buy the exact same time as yesterday. Yeah. Yep. You're not wrong. It's playing out too. If you guys are using the bot for your funded account or you're using just the bot in general, what I recommend with the short time frame bots is obviously don't just follow the signals blindly. You want to give it a little bit of assistance, figure out where your overall trend is, look at the multiple time frames, follow the big time frame signals. So like if you're 15 minutes in a buy, or 30 minutes in a buy, or 1 hour's in a buy, then you should be following the buy signals, right? And even then, you want to make sure that you're not hitting any like major resistance or something. Like you don't want to take a buy signal that's failing VWAP, okay? You don't want to take a buy signal that has a delta bear div or something like that, right? So just give it some user intuition, give it some help. And what we have seen over the testing is the signals that happen within the first hour of the day, like 9:30 to 10:30 or even like 11 o'clock, they are very strong. So as long as you're following that kind of beginning of the day momentum, those signals are very strong. And just make sure you're getting a good risk to reward. So as long as you can get like a 2-to-1 risk to reward on the bot signals, they are typically worth taking. Because if you're following a 2-to-1 and you're following that properly for at least 10 plus trades, you only have to be winning like 30 to 40% of your trades to really make a profit. Okay, so you don't have to win every single trade. Losing is going to be a part of the process. So the biggest thing that people don't understand with trading systems is if you're following a system for X amount of trades, 10, 20 trades, you have to stay true to that system, because if you're following a 2-to-1 risk to reward and your win rate's like 40%, you're still making money. You don't have to be at an 80% win rate to make money. And I know every trader is like trying to hit that goal of, I want to win 70% of my trades, 80% of my trades. It's extremely difficult to be consistent above like 60%. All right, we're starting to fail VWAP again, so it looks like we're getting a morning balance just like we did yesterday. We're failing VWAP on the entire session. Yeah, it's another thing you got to watch for is like when it's clearly in a range. That's why I wanted to give you guys access to the range bot. When it has like these thick clouds and it's constantly flipping from buy to sell, that is in a range market. You do not want to be focusing on the signals in a range market until you start seeing those trendy signals. Oh, let me post the trade plan for today in the Discord. So we do have some data today. We do have data coming out at 10 o'clock and 10:30. Existing home sales at 10, and then crude oil at 10:30. The existing home sales should be a fairly big market mover. not big as in like 100 points, but we should get like a 20-point move probably out of that. Because the building permits came out pretty good yesterday. And what was the other one last week? Excuse me, there was a housing data point last week that was pretty bullish. Let me see. Was it last week or the week before? I can't find it, but there was another housing data point that came out this month that was pretty damn bullish. So the existing home sales should be a fairly big mover, probably about 15 to 20 points. So we'll have to see how that one comes out. Comes out in about 15 minutes. Yeah, it's really cool. They include the PDF so you can get all the charts and stuff if you get the audiobook. I'm not a big fan of audiobooks for stuff like that, but it just depends on how you like to learn. For like educational stuff, I don't do very well with audiobooks. I'm more of a visual learner. Um, but if it's like something like I don't know, like a fantasy book or like a biography, or like, I don't know, something like that, you could probably listen to it on audio. I like having the book in my hand usually. Okay, so we just came up to VWAP and failed it instantly. So a little bit of sell pressure coming in here. Strong seller delta on this candle. 39, 40, some around 39 on the last candle as well. Not really any trapped buyers up here. You get a little bit of buyers at 41. A lot of buyers here at 34. Yeah, MS, I'm sure that would be a little hard in audiobook, huh? We have not been getting a lot of extreme trading recently. This week has been brutal for my trading style. We've had very little of the setups that we'd like to trade. We're opening every cash session on the POC, kind of building balance around the POC, and then it just kind of starts to trend in one direction. This might be the if this continues through the entire week, this will be the probably least traded week of the year. So keep an eye on VWAP here. We do have VWAP around 40. Hey, Thropper in Discord, you said, do I have a clue when the Apex offer for funded accounts ends? What do you mean? Do you mean the 50% off discount thing? If you're referring to my code, it should never end, because that's our partnership. So that code should be good for basically ever. Sometimes it fluctuates, so it might go down to like 30%. It might go up to like 60 or something. I don't dictate that. That's on their end, but it should never end. There should always be some kind of discount there, just for our partnership. I think it's currently at 50%. Let me go double check. Yeah, it's currently at 50%. And I think that's where it's going to remain for the majority of the time. They might raise it around like Black Friday or something like that. All right, so what we're looking for here, let me close that really quick. What we're looking for here is in the next 7 minutes, we're going to have existing home sales. I'm assuming it's going to give us about a 15 to 20 point move. And what we want to pay attention to is how it reacts to somewhere around here. And then how it reacts to like this area right here. Up to this LVN. And these are our possible trade points. If it pushes up here and starts to show like seller aggression, we could take that as a short. If it comes down here and starts to kind of accumulate around this lower level, we could take that as a long. We do not like trading the POC. The POC is basically a coin flip. Anywhere in this kind of POC node here, you're just flipping a coin. Not really a great place to be a trader. Very good place to be a market maker, not a good place to be a trader. So these are the two extremes that we're looking for here. So we have about 5 minutes left, and we'll see how it reacts to these two levels. Same goes for if it reacts. Oops. Same goes for if it reacts like bearishly. So like if we break this level and it gives us like a rebound, we could look for a short. If it breaks this and gives us a little rebound, we could look for a long. So it all depends on how we get that reaction. Now, this week, we have not traded basically at all in our live account because we are just not getting the types of setups that we really like to see to press that button to enter the trade. So hopefully we can get those setups today. That's just something you guys got to get used to in your trading. Some weeks you're going to have 20 plus trades. Some weeks you're going to have like 2 trades. Just really depends on what the market's giving you. What you have to learn is those weeks that you're getting a lot of setups, you have to kind of pull back and not be so greedy. In the weeks that you're not getting a lot of setups, you have to kind of sit on your hands and be patient. It's also the summertime. So the summertime, you're most likely going to be trading less depending on your setup. But most setups, you're going to be trading less in the summertime. The summer just kind of is low volatility, kind of lackadaisical trading. Like you're just watching paint dry most of the time. Now, I will say, since COVID, the summertime has been more active. Pre-COVID, the summertime was definitely a lot less volatile. I feel like it's mostly due to the Fed, though. The Fed is definitely helping the market be a little bit more active right now. Getting a 3-minute sell signal here. I would like to take this, but we do have the existing home sales coming out here in 5 minutes, not even like 3 minutes. Yeah, Apex has been around for a while, so that's their whole business model is um, their funded accounts and stuff. They've got different stuff on their website as well. I think they have like investing stuff as well, but that's not going to go away. They've been doing that for years. Okay, so we're bouncing right off that zone that we were talking about. Unfortunately, this is 1 minute until we get that data point, so we have to be a little patient here. Oh, you guys can't see my chart. Sorry, let me fix my chart here. So we're bouncing right off that little zone that we were talking about. Let's keep an eye on how this reacts to the data coming out. Yeah, exactly, Tom. This is more of a standard summertime, yeah. It's a little bit more active since, like I said, post-COVID, but it's definitely a little slow. Okay, data should be coming out at any second now. Came out pretty red, pretty red. 5.12 million. Expected was 5.37 million. Last month was 5.41 million. So home sales coming down here. Let's take a look at the relative chart. When did COVID start? It was like February 2020, I believe it was. Yeah, February 2020. Trying to look at the graphs since COVID. So this is the existing home sales since COVID. You can see how it started to spike up very rapidly, kind of topped out around 2021, little double top here in 2022, and you can see the data points have been going down pretty rapidly since when is that? February 2022. So almost a year, almost exactly, or sorry, 2 years, almost exactly 2 years after COVID started. But typically you see these winter sales coming up. So you had the winter sales, and now we're pulling back. All right, let's keep an eye on how this reacts here. Let me pull up my Ninja Trader here. There you go. It's a hard call here because we are bouncing off support on the volume profile, but the bot's showing a sell and the existing home sales is coming out pretty bearish. It is a hard call. What's our momentum? 5 minute coming down, 15 coming down, 30 coming down, and 1 hour coming down. So momentum is pretty bearish here, actually. Pretty strong sellers on the low here. They haven't pushed yet, so they're slightly being trapped. You can see how we're reacting to this little section here. Oh, sorry. Let me put my Ninja Trader back on here. So look at the delta here. Lot of bearish delta on the lows. Very strong delta at 25. Very strong delta at 27, 26. Very strong delta on the low here, 25. He's getting trapped a little bit. When you see very strong imbalances like this, you do not want to see this, like where it starts to push away from it immediately. That typically means he's being absorbed and he's being trapped. You want to see it like holding in the same area or pushing below it. If it starts wicking like this, he's being trapped. Is there any bull div here? No bull div on delta, so delta is still pretty bearish here. David said it looks like tech is not letting the market get red. Is tech starting to go up here? Let's see. Looks like most tech is Amazon's going up a little bit. Amazon and Netflix are holding up slightly, but everything else is kind of rolling over. Wow, look at this put to call ratio on SPX. That's a very heavy put to call ratio on SPX, 4-to-1. Typically, when you get these really high put to calls, you're going to get a pop, like a bullish move up. It basically means that people are overly hedging. They're overly hedging to the downside, so you can squeeze them to the upside. Like, when was this last one? May 18th? How'd the market react on May 18th? Or after May 18th? Where's May? Yeah, nasty red day. Nasty red day on May 18th. You can see on May 18th here, we had that really nasty red day, dropped about 4%. Look at the put to call ratio on May 18th. It was sky high. It went to 5.4 and then nuked. This isn't that high historically, around 4. If it got to like 5 or 10, that's really high. But you can see it spikes to this kind of 4 area quite often. So 4 is not really a tradable number just yet. But if it starts getting much higher, then you should see a little squeeze there. Okay, we are bouncing off the value area low here. Bouncing off a little support. I think those sellers are definitely trapped. Sellers at 24. Looks like the market is reacting bullishly to this data, even though it was quite bad. Okay, back to VWAP here. No bull div or anything. We're just kind of pushing here. Five-minute bearish pinch starting, but it has not confirmed. You can see how we're right around the 0 line. 15-minute also hovering around the 0 line. Same with a 30-minute. Sorry, you guys can't see my chart. Here you go. 5-minute, you can see that pinch. We have a pinch going, but it hasn't confirmed a direction. It looks like it wants to go down, but you would have to break the 0 line here. Dollar not really reacting to that news. We are bouncing off that little zone here. Or sorry, no, that's where we built the zone. That was pre-market. Yeah, the buyer absorption, it's huge, for sure. Let me re-show that here. They got perfectly absorbed at 25. That was right off our little buy point as well. What screen am I showing? Yeah, you can see it here. So if you guys took this long down here, You could close at the POC. We're still looking for the value area high or this sell zone up here. So look for the POC right here, literally where it's testing. Value area high at 44 or anywhere from 46 to 49. The bot's getting trapped here on that existing home sales data. Like I said, be careful taking the signals around those data points. You want to see how the market is reacting to the fundamentals. 5 minutes still in a sell, 15 still in a sell, 30 is, 1 hour is. So most of the trends are still in a sell here. Only the very short time frames, the 1 and the 3 are in, or 3 not yet. The 1 is in a buy. 3 minute not yet. 3 minute is warning for a buy. Not there just yet. Very choppy price action this morning. The 30 minute's been really trendy. That's a beautiful 30 minute. 30 minutes still looks pretty bearish here, but you do have a very slight bull div. Sorry, let me hide this here. Very trendy 30 minute. So we're still in a downtrend here as long as it's holding below VWAP or holding below kind of like 38 to 40. What's the grid called? Let me see. On NinjaTrader. Let me see here. I don't have anything turned on, so I can't remember how did I turn that on? I think it's built into the candles. Yeah, stats grid. So on the stats grid, it's just built into the volumetric candles. You just turn on the statistics and then you pick whichever ones you want. I'm only showing a few of them. Volume, delta, cumulative delta, and delta change. Don't care about any of the other stuff. You took that trade, Sean? You got out of the POC? Yeah, POC is holding us down a little bit here. Give me a second, guys. Just looking at something for someone in Discord here. Looks like we are trying to bullishly flip the POC here. Still holding below VWAP. Here, let's watch the volume profile here because this is very important. Very beautiful tap of this lower level that we were watching, kind of a tweezer bottom there, popping up into the POC, showing a little bit of resistance. The problem is this could be a trap, right? Because we're in a very strong downtrend from the high. Let me hide my screen here for a second. We're in a very strong downtrend from the high. So this little support here could just be a retest of this downtrend, which is right around the POC, and could lead us down very quickly. That's why you want it to be a buyer on the extreme, not around the POC. So if you bought down here, you're still looking pretty good. You're still up about 6 to 10 points. But if you bought around the POC, you're kind of buying where the resistance is. So this could very well be a trap. You have to watch how it reacts to the POC here. Good morning, crypto. No, we forgot to mark out the overnight levels, but they haven't really come into play yet, so that's okay. Okay, very strong buy pressure starting to come in here. If we can hold above the POC, you are looking for that sell zone that we talked about. You also want to watch the value area high because it's kind of shifted. So it shifted down a little bit. So keep an eye on 43 and then possibly 46 to 49. Delta is kind of weak for this kind of buy pressure. You can see how the delta is only breaking a few of these peaks here. So this is that push that we were looking for on the home sales. We said 15 to 20 points. What's it currently at? It's at about 10. If you take it from the low, you're right around that 15 to 20. So if we can get up to like the value area high here, that would basically be the full move from the home sales. Funny enough, it's kind of doing the opposite of what was expected. The expected was down, obviously. It was a little bearish. Pretty damn beautiful 30-minute candle here. We're engulfing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 candles here. If you're still holding this trade from the value area low, look for the value area high at 43, and then the sell zone around the mid 40s. Like I said, Delta is a little weak for this type of buy pressure. This type of buy pressure, we should be seeing Delta go up a lot quicker here. You can see how we're putting in almost a bear div from the high a day. So we're about to break the high a day, but the Delta is nowhere near the high a day. We would need about 1,000 contracts, which isn't too bad. You could get that in one order. So the bear div is not very high. Sorry, you can't see my chart. Let me show you here. So you see the Delta. It's not near the high a day, but we're breaking the high a day almost. So little weakness on Delta. But like I said, it's only about 1,000 contracts. That is not too hard to break. Okay, here's the value rate high target. So if you guys took that lower trade and you're still holding, I would definitely be taking profit here. If you did not take profit on the POC, you can close the full trade here. But if you want to look for a little bit more, there's a sell zone just above this. But at this point, I would not be being very greedy. So if you're not going to take profit here, I would be pulling my stop loss to probably like 39. Pull the stop to like 39 and hold on to the rest of it and see if you can get maybe 47 to 45 here. Is anybody in this trade? Okay, here's the sell zone. So watch the sell zone here. I would definitely be taking some profit here. Even if you still want to hold on to the trade, I would be taking some profit here. This is a strong sell area. If it blows through this area, we very well could be getting the overnight high. But you do not want to be too greedy here. Okay, Delta has repaired itself, so there is no bear div anymore. We are hitting that sell zone. Be careful. You can see we're getting a little bit of pressure there. Okay, this buy pressure is insane. All of bad data. Definitely was not expecting this type of buy pressure. If you're still holding, there are a couple levels left. There's only 2 levels, really. There is a level, or keep an eye on 54. I would not hold for overnight high, to be honest. Delta is a little too weak. I would not be holding for that. Jim Cramer might have been right this time. Yeah, he said, what did he say? He said something about tech causing the bottom or something like that. $590 offered at $39.50. Let me see. Oh, I see that. Yeah, big order. Big order for sure. Oh, that's right. That's right. He said this rally is just the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. The one time. It's like the broken clock, right? Broken clock's right twice a day. We're eating into that sell wall. I think it's got about... Oh, no, he pulled it. He pulled it. Or no, he didn't. My bad. I'm looking at the wrong number. It's got about 100 contracts left. Yeah, it's got about 100 left. Yep. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta check something really quick. Yeah, I'll do it later. Okay, so that wall has been taken out. It traded about, let me see, 843 contracts at that level. Or sorry, 1,500 contracts at that level. New York Stock Exchange praising Kramer like he's the stock god. Oh, I know, dude. He's been wrong like the last like 2 years. He was wrong about almost everything since COVID started. This is insane buy pressure off of a bad existing homes number. Very unusual. Not only was it bad according to expectations, it was bad according to last month as well. We have crude oil inventories coming out. Let me take a look at that. So crude oil was actually pretty good. So that's helping for sure. Crude oil trading at negative 0.4 million, where the forecast was positive 2.1 million. Oh yeah, that crude oil number might pop us up to overnight high here. What a beautiful reaction on the value area low. HYG, is that diesel? No, it's not diesel. What is that? HYG. HYG. High yield corporate bonds. I've never looked at this, to be honest. How are the yields doing today? Yields are down a little bit. Yeah, I've never actually looked at this ticker. Not a big bonds guy. I look at the yields every now and then. I'll watch the 10-year yield, the 20-year, stuff like that. Not a big bonds guy. Bonds are a little too macro for me. It's a measure of liquidity, usually leading the way. I gotcha. Some big sell absorption. Let's see. Big seller at 58.50 and then 58. Building a little branch around 56. If we hold above 56 here, should continue higher. Look for the overnight high here. Overnight high is 64. Absolutely ridiculous reaction we're seeing here. We were expecting a 15 to 20 point move. This is huge. This is what? Almost 40 points? Started closing way too early. That's hindsight, though. That's hindsight. Closed a little bit on the sell zone. Completely out around this node here. Did not expect overnight high here. Let me update the Discord really quick. What are we looking for above 39.64? I don't think we have a target above that. Let me see. Oh, yeah, we do. 90 to 4,010. So you flipped into a 3-minute buy there, breaking VWAP. So you do have VWAP support on that one. The one thing about Kramer, he had Larry Williams on, who said the COT report showed big commercial buying long on ES last week, and the dude is pretty spot on. So he actually had someone on there to help him out. is the real thing. He I don't know how he still has a job, to be honest. Kramer. The guy has been wrong about all of his big takes in like the past 5 years. You could find Reddit people that have a better track record than him. Jim Cramer's kind of like Michael Burry. And I don't like to hate on Michael Burry because he's a really fucking smart guy and he's nailed a lot of things. But people assume that Michael Burry's going to be right about every single take he has because he nailed the '08 crisis. But all of his major takes since then have been pretty wrong. Okay, so that node that we're building up here at 62 is definitely starting to show as resistance, so be a little careful on that. We have a little bit of a 5-minute zone here. We didn't find this morning because it wasn't a 30-minute zone. We typically look for 30-minute zones. We do have a little zone here on the 5 minutes, so be careful. You do have a small resistance kind of right here. You can see how it was acting as support and then resistance, so it kind of flipped resistance there as well. Typically, we like to find these zones on the 30-minute and then trade them on the 5-minute. But little 5-minute zone there reacting to price. Little top candle, inverted hammer. How's our momentum here? So 5-minute pinch ended up being bullish. You can see how it started to pinch upward there. So a little bullish pinch. 15-minute pinch starting to turn bullish. 30 minutes still no direction. Slightly bearish. 1 hour turning bullish here. Short-term momentum coming back. Dollar still not reacting. But all right, guys, I'm going to call it on that. I'm going to go check on my girlfriend. She actually is staying home with COVID. She finally got COVID. She's been like immune to COVID since it started. I've had COVID almost 3 times. She finally got it. So hopefully I don't get it again. We'll see. I think my body's pretty resistant to it at this point. But we are going to call it on that. I'm going to take a little break here. I'm going to come back and then we are going to be hanging out for the rest of the day. I'm not going to go to the gym because I don't want to expose anybody else to COVID. So we'll be hanging out at home for the rest of the day. Hopefully be able to get some more trades here. The next trades that we're looking for, what screen am I on? You guys can see this? Okay, so the next trades that we're looking for, this one played out beautifully. So if you guys took that little buy down there on the low, you should be doing all right. We took this on our main account. I counter traded on my Apex account just in case we broke down on the existing home sales news. Took I think it was like a 5 to 10 point loss on the Apex account. That's all right though. It's just a simulator. No big deal. If you guys did take this trade, if you closed to the POC or you closed at the old value area high, don't beat yourself up. I was not expecting this kind of buy pressure off of that bad news. We were looking for probably a 15 to 20 point move. Ended up giving you almost a 40 point move. So massive move there. The next trades that we're looking for is a possible rebound, same exact zone here. So just flip this zone into a buy zone. Looking for a rebound here, or at this point it'd be a pullback because it's been away from it for too long to be a rebound. So look for a pullback into the value area high, or look for this branch to build up. This is almost the POC. If it hangs out here for much longer, that will shift the POC. So look for the shift of the POC here, or just hold it as support. And then you could look for a continuation move into the overnight high. So at this point, I would be trading, or I would be changing my trade plan. So this morning we were leaning bearish, but because you found that support that we were looking for, you would now be leaning bullish. Okay, so you want to be buying the lows, careful selling the highs, unless it's something like a sweep. If you have a overnight high sweep here, then you could look to be a seller on the highs. Besides that, I would be very careful selling up here because the buy pressure is actually quite strong. If you do start to show sell pressure back on this value area high, then you could probably be a seller back into the POC. But I would probably be leaning bullish for the rest of the day. But all right, guys, if you guys are in the Discord, I'm going to take a little 5-10 minute break here, and then we'll be hanging out for the rest of the day. If you're not in the Discord, I'll catch you guys tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning, as always. So you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys then. Peace out, guys.